boldly go where no man has gone before.
Boldly taking talk radio where it has never gone before. New vistas, new voices, new views, new visions, new victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black.
Hey, so I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
Don't you driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. You keep playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light. See the light.
I'm going to make the assumption that you've heard phrases like, let your yes mean yes and your no mean no, or another one that runs parallel to that, say what you mean and mean what you say. And when we use phrases like that, they appeal to straightforward talk. But even more so than that, it appeals to having a lack of guile or a lack of pretense in the way that you engage with others, and frankly, that's a really good way to go. Now, you know that there are some people who are less than straightforward in the way that they engage with you. There are some people that are just openly known as being liars and deceivers. They can be openly aggressive when you disagree with them. They can be pushy and forceful and constantly argumentative and speaking in one-up kind of terms. And these are individuals, we kind of call them blowhards, or individuals who are just constantly stirring up trouble. They don't leave a whole lot to the imagination. But then there's a certain category of individuals that they can have a commitment to being difficult and not straightforward themselves, but they're much more stealth in the way that they go about it. Years ago, I actually coined the term that I just use for myself. I refer to some people as honest people. And what I meant by that is there are some people, they don't necessarily tell lies. That's the honest part. But at the same time, there's just not a real sense of openness and straightforwardness. They're not very honest, they're not very honest about the things that they have behind door number 3 over here. Now, in a little bit of a different term, I would refer to this as passive dishonesty. And frankly, passive dishonesty is every bit as insidious as open lying, and in fact, it may be even more difficult, simply because the passivity is part of the deception. It's part of the technique, if you will. Now, there are multiple indicators that might indicate that an individual is, in fact, going in that direction of passive dishonesty. For example, there are times when an individual might allow you to assume that they agree with you when in fact they don't. Or it could be that they can be the kind of person that will put on a very friendly front when in fact behind the scenes they feel absolute contempt towards some individuals, and you only find out about that much later on. It could be that these are individuals who will pay you nice compliments, and yet later on you learn, well, they were only being complimentary so that they could find their inroad and have an extra measure of influence over you. These are individuals who actually like to appear to be a very pleasing kind of a person, and yet behind the scenes they feel a lot of displeasure toward you. Now, there are other ways that people can go into this passive dishonesty. Sometimes they'll confront you with seemingly innocent questions. You know, something like, hey, did you talk to this person over here at work about the plans? Now, what they're really meaning is, hey, look, I can't stand the way that you're handling this, and you're not managing this very well, and so I've got to get you to just do things a little bit better. But instead of just speaking straight, hey, did you do anything about these plans? They already know the answer, but they just don't want to get into what seems to be a confrontation. Or it might be that they'll say something like, in a parenting situation, co-parenting, well, I wonder why the kids just didn't seem to take care of the issues that I thought they were supposed to do. When in fact it's your way of saying, there you go again, you let me down. But they couch their words in ways that make it sound as if they're curious or asking innocent questions when in fact they're trying to make a point to make you look foolish. Or, by the way, we have a term for that too, it's called gaslighting. Or it may be that they'll deflect when they're asked questions. You may say something to that.
What in the world is passive dishonesty? The voice of reason. Back in the building on a Monday with another riveting topic about relationships. The voice you just heard prior to mine, that is Dr. West Carter. If you want to know more about him, you can visit his YouTube page where he has a myriad of videos that highlight these interesting topics, such as passive dishonesty. The name of his YouTube page is called Surviving Narcissism with Dr. Les Carter. It's amazing work, man. And, I just discovered him over the weekend while I was on a mini excursion on Catalina Island. And I was able to kind of recuperate, and I was thinking about this topic, and the video came across my phone, and I was able to, scratch a little topic together, and I think this is a very interesting one. Topic: why does my significant other seem to hate straight talk? A deeper look into passive dishonesty. Woo! Are passive-aggressive people basically dishonest? 1-800-920-1580. What does passive dishonesty mean to you, and how does it differ from active dishonesty? Can you recall a situation where you might have engaged in passive dishonesty? I think Dr. Les Carter gave us some great examples of what that might mean or what that might look like. Can you recall a situation where you might have engaged in passive dishonesty? What motivated that behavior? Listen, you already know what the voice of reason is. It's not a man preaching, teaching, or monologuing. This is a discussion. Lauren Camille in the chat room says, I'm triggered already. That's okay. Get on the phone and let's have a conversation. Remember, the voice of reason is a non-judgmental, open space where all opinions and ideas are valuable. The speaker is not important. What is important is that we have a powerful dialogue with one another so we can all learn at the same time. The hotline number is 1-800-920-1580. How do cultural norms And societal influences shape our willingness to engage in passive dishonesty. Goodness. In what ways can passive dishonesty harm relationships and erode trust over time? Are there instances when passive dishonesty might be justified or morally acceptable? Right? Can you provide examples? Is there a need-to-know basis within your own intimate relationship? That's interesting. When it comes to information, is there a need-to-know basis in your relationship? Right? Where you say to yourself, I've taken it upon myself to not reveal this information to my partner. 1-800-920-1580. It's going to be lit tonight. You better get in here before the phone lines get crazy. You know this is a national show. Everybody calls from all over the country. Is open communication good for all relationships? Can all relationships handle open communication? Or does passive dishonesty have its place? Very interesting. 1-800-920-1580. When I come forward, I got more questions. I got more breakdowns. And we're going to have callers. Let's do it.
The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings will disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age. But there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
At Granger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail, the ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCES scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk
1580.
insecurities written all on your face. So predictable your words, I know what you're gonna say. You be fooling or you assuming you can just come and hang with the homies, but your level of realness ain't the same. Circus acts only attract those that entertain. Small talk, we know that it's all talk. We live in the laugh factory every time they mention your name. Ask whether sex to impress me. Ask whether money bags to impress me. Say you got the bonus dash to impress me. It's all in your head, ask whether blood gas to impress me. Ask whether drug gas to impress me. Ask where that only upsets me. You sound like the best on me. You ain't gotta lie, just kick it, Mikey. You ain't gotta lie. You ain't gotta lie. You ain't gotta lie, just kick it, Mikey. You ain't gotta try so hard. You ain't gotta lie, just kick it, Mikey. You ain't gotta lie. You ain't gotta lie. You ain't gotta lie, just kick it, Mikey. You ain't gotta try so hard. And the world don't respect you, and the culture don't accept you, but you think it's all love. And the girls gonna neglect you once your parody is done. Reputation can't protect you if you never had one. Jealousy, conflict, emotional conflict, self-hate conflict, underhold conflict. The loudest one in the room, that's a complex. Let me put it back in proper context. You ain't gotta lie, just kick it, Mikey. You ain't gotta lie.
There are two things I prep myself with before I have any type of difficult conversation with my husband. Empathy and principality. Empathy because as a woman, I would throw this pity party for myself. He knows exactly how I'm feeling, and he's intentionally not doing anything about it. When that is not true. He's not a mind reader. He has no idea what's going on in my head. And most of the time, some men don't even notice. And then principality. The enemy is prowling like a lion, looking to kill, steal, and destroy. The strongest declarations on this earth are marriages, my marriage. And I'm not going to help him do that. So I had to learn how to communicate and bring forth a difficult conversation that didn't warrant my husband feeling belittled or attacked. Yeah, we are definitely at war, but we should not be at war with each other.
That was the word, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, the Voice of Reason is live on KBLA Talk 1580. You already know what it is, open conversation. I want to learn from y'all. I want y'all to help me get better. Trust me, I've used passive dishonesty. You're never going to have me in here acting holier than thou. A lot of people with a lot of wisdom want to put themselves on a pedestal to feel like they are beyond reproach to the people that they are sharing their information with. You're not going to get that from me. No. You're not going to get that from me. I'm going to tell you the truth. I am flawed, and I would say the version you are talking to today is a better version than if you spoke to me yesterday. Because what I've learned in my years on planet Earth, if you're not spending every day trying to get better as a human being, you're wasting your life. It's kind of like what Muhammad Ali said. He said, if you talk to a man and he's the same as he was 50 years ago, then he ain't did nothing. I paraphrase, of course. But you can't stay the same. And relationships puts us in a specific dynamic that forces you to self-audit. And every time you miss an opportunity to be accountable for how you show up, for how you impact your relationship, you actually stunt the growth of the relationship. You understand? In the complex landscape of human interaction, the concept of dishonesty often reveals itself in myriad forms. Each of us, or each form, with its own shade of gray, right? One such intricate facet is passive dishonesty, a terrain where the boundaries between truth and falsehood blur, right? Inviting contemplation, of its subtle yet impactful implications. Do you get what I'm saying? Passive dishonesty is kind of answering a question with a question, leaving you with more questions, right? So this is where it invites contemplation, right? As we explore this intricate web, we must first decipher its nuances and distinguish it from its more overt counterpart, which is active dishonesty. Passive dishonesty, like a whisper carried by the wind, involves a deliberate withholding of information, expression, or perspective. It is the art of skirting the edge of the truth without fully embracing the truth, presenting a veneer of compliance while harboring unspoken reservation. In contrast, active dishonesty is the act of making a false statement or overtly concealing reality, often involving explicit deceit or fabrication. While both forms involve a deviation from the truth, passive dishonesty thrives on a quieter, more nuanced approach rooted in silence and omission. The distinction lies not only in action, but in intent. Active dishonesty often serves self-interest, aiming to manipulate perception or secure a desired outcome. Passive dishonesty, on the other hand, may emerge from a desire to avoid confrontation, preserve harmony, or protect oneself from potential repercussions. The motivation behind passive dishonesty are woven from the thread of fear, avoidance, and the intricate tapestry of human vulnerability. It finds its footing in the realm of interpersonal dynamics as individuals navigate the intricate dance of maintaining relationships while sidestepping uncomfortable truths. Let me tell you right now, you want a real relationship? You got to be in a relationship with somebody that accepts all of you. Now, what that means is when you find somebody that accepts the whole you can get naked. Nudity in art represents vulnerability, right? If you can be vulnerable, i.e., psychologically naked, emotionally naked, mentally naked, in your relationship, that's a healthy relationship. But remember, most people are wearing a mask. And they spend a lot of their time maintaining the mask. The mask is an object that is subject to obsolescence, meaning over time it degrades, it gets old, it suffers from energetic, spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional entropy. It breaks down. So we spend a lot of time maintaining the mask, because our partner is dating the mask we present, and we're dating the mask they present. So we spend a lot of time maintaining that the mask is in tip-top shape. Do you understand? That's not a real relationship, because nobody has enough resources to keep those masks in pristine condition. A real relationship is with two real people. And real people can be vulnerable around the person they think and say they love. Can we be real? We got to be real with each other if we want a real relationship with each other. Andy got something to say. I done sparked Andy. Lord.
No, I felt like we kind of talked about this behind the scenes sometime last week, but I just want to, re-ask this question because, sometimes, when we meet somebody, sometimes we don't want to reveal all of ourselves off the rip because you know what? That might turn that person away. So I believe I know the answer to this, but for those who didn't know, the question is, like, how long do I take to pretty much reveal myself and, show vulnerability to somebody?
Hey, Andy, I'm going to answer that question with me. Don't be like me. I damn near ruined the best thing in my life. Taking a long-ass time not revealing things, being secretive, being hyper-guarded. I don't know. I don't really know you. And I don't really know how to open up and share who I really am with you. And listen, in my life, how I was raised, from the projects of Alton Park in Chattanooga, Tennessee, to Altadena, California, in the 80s, when gangbanging was crazy. Do you understand? To Pasadena, in the 80s, when gangbanging was out of control. Not seeing my father since 1978. Don't know if he's dead or alive today. Raised by my mother, who had a nervous breakdown at 27 after I was born. Do you understand what I'm saying? I come with baggage. The only healthy relationship I had before my mother got us back from foster care was with my foster parents. So, I'm guarded in a mug. Oh, by the way, I live in LA, one of the most superficial places on planet Earth. So, when somebody showed me love, I didn't know how to act. I didn't know how to take it. I couldn't believe it was real. So, I was less open to be transparent. More than likely, I did engage in passive dishonesty, skirting the edge of telling the truth. Listen. You want a real relationship, you got to get butt naked. Now, when you get butt naked, that's up to you to decide. But, Andy, don't be like me. I'm slow. I'm waiting 2 years. There's still things I need to say about me. Don't be like me.
Someone's in appropriate time there.
I think I don't think there's a universal appropriate time. The reason why I say that is because two people in a relationship are two works in progress that have their own clock. And I can't give you the clock. I just know me waiting too long had very adverse effects on my relationship that I have to go back and heal, that I have to go back and deal with. Do you understand? Some people could do it faster, some people take more time. But the reality of it is a relationship needs transparency. It needs it. If you guys are each other's people, you my person, I'm your person. If we're that to each other, honesty is definitely key. When we come forward, we're going to Austin, Texas, Indianapolis, Indiana, Houston, Texas. The phone lines are cracking. I want to talk to y'all.
What do you got to offer? Tell me before we offer. Push it deep in the coffin. Been allergic to chocolate. Been aversion to bullshit. Instead of dreaming the option. Tell me just who's your profit. Be fugazi. Be fugazi. This is for fugazi. To make a bitch with line babies. Bless them little hearts.
He's on fire tonight. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Esther Dillard, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Multiple reports say 10 indictments have been returned by the grand jury in Georgia's election interference case against former President Donald Trump. It's not yet known if Trump himself was indicted because the case reportedly involves several defendants. We may later learn details on the charges. Trump is accused of breaking state election laws in the weeks after Election Day in an effort to remain in power. The charges center around actions that include allegedly making false claims of ballot fraud and pressuring local officials to find him more votes to overturn the election. Black Democratic Fulton County District Attorney Bonnie Willis has been investigating Trump and his allies for more than 2 years. Trump has denied any wrongdoing. And that's the latest. I'm Esther Dillard from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Need an accident attorney by your side. All you got to do is call the accident guys.
Injured in a car accident or at work? Call the Accident Guide to speak with a real expert attorney for a free consultation.
Boldly go where no man has gone before.
Boldly taking talk radio where it has never gone before. New vistas, new voices, new views, new visions, new victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black.
Need help with the job hunt? It can be challenging, but don't worry. LA County has your back. With a variety of available support services, you'll get the help you need while finding a job. We're here to help you succeed. Let's get started. Find out if you qualify at recovery.lacounty.gov/programs. That's recovery.lacounty.gov/programs. LA County and you, moving forward together.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands for Unity and Healing. African Focus Incorporated is a nonprofit organization based in California that focuses on the growth and well-being of Africans all around the world. Their mission is to promote the well-being of people of African descent through knowledge and appreciation of one another by building a bridge of love and understanding. African Focus Incorporated strives for cultural, educational, and economic growth. They're the organization behind the African Family Induction Ceremony, African Goodwill Award, African Focus Trailblazer Tours, African Dance Competition, and Showcase Los Angeles, Family Day, Good News Windows Microfinance Project, and more. To volunteer, travel with African Focus, or to attend one of their community building events, please call 310-676-7730. That's 310-676-7300. Or visit AfricanFocus.org. This is a diaspora-wide community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Sometimes we try to fit it all in. Sometimes we don't know what's in store. Sometimes we find what we're looking for. Sometimes we're rolling easy and free. Sometimes one and one makes peace. So much love along this ride. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take. And when I left the Evanon, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan. Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time-to-talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580. Are you worried about your credit score? Well, look, you can rebuild it. There are lots of factors that go into determining your credit score, but one of the most effective ways to improve your score is to consistently pay your bills on time, over time. If you're forgetful about payments, like me, try automating your bill payments. That way all your creditors get paid on time, and you'll have freed yourself of trying to remember. Whatever your financial goals, U.S. Bank Access Commitment Initiatives can help support you in reaching them. Access your financial goals at usbank.com/access. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Joe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey guys, love your content and wanted to hear what you have to say about this certain subject. My partner and I have been in a relationship for about 2.5 years now, and a constant theme that has shown up for us is conflict surrounding my emotions.
2.5 years?
2.5 years. I'm what some might call sensitive or over-emotional. The problem I'm looking to resolve or find answers to is, am I being too emotional? Am I creating the problems, or is what I'm saying valid? So I want to address her saying I'm what some might call sensitive or over-emotional. I cry a lot. A lot. I cry on camera constantly, and I just keep talking to you. Me crying is my body's reaction to things. I can't control myself crying, and I hate it. But I've just accepted that's who I am as a person, and some people would say that's too sensitive or I'm over-emotional because I will cry and continue talking.
Right.
In my mind, that's healthy. The fact that I can sit here and cry to you and still carry on a conversation and resolve things or whatever the discussion is and process my shit, that's healthy to me. When I hear sensitive or over-emotional, that's someone who's like in a constantly anxious state and you can't take constructive criticism. Or you start crying, and because you're crying, it has to be paused and you have to be consoled.
Yeah, the sensitive, the way that I took that and the way that you took that is very different.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something? Money can help create a safe space for relationships. It can help create a safe space for relationships only in this regard. The space. Money can help you buy a place. That's it. Where the real safe space is created is from the inside out. First, you have to be safe within yourself. Your partner has to be safe within themselves. And then you transform the house into a home. Right? So when I say money creates a safe space, only to a certain degree. It is presence that creates a lasting safe space. And if you want to create a safe space so you guys can avoid using the tactic of passive dishonesty, you first have to be 100% honest with yourself. You have to accept yourself as you are. You have to stop judging yourself. You have to stop comparing yourself against others. You have to stop speaking negatively about yourself. Because if you engage in all of these things within yourself, there will be instances of passive dishonesty. I think passive dishonesty is rooted in fear, right? And where there's a lack of self-love, there will be an over-reliance on self-protectiveness, right? I got to protect myself. I got to protect myself against all these attacks. There are no attacks when you love yourself. I promise you. There are no attacks when you love yourself. You start to see, oh, you're so small. It's okay. And then you radiate love back to the smallness of somebody else or the pettiness of somebody else. But it's very difficult for you to be 100% transparent with others if you're not self-transparent, in my opinion. Okay? Passive dishonesty, although less covert, carries its own weighty consequences. It can erode trust and authenticity over time, casting shadows of doubt on the sincerity of the interaction. Like a riverbed worn by a persistent stream, it carries an emotional canyon, dividing individuals from the fullness of their connection. Relationships built upon passive dishonesty may become fragile, unable to withstand the weight of unspoken truths left unaddressed. To navigate the terrain, the topography of passive dishonesty, one must first cultivate self-awareness. I just said this. There can be no self-love if there is no self-awareness. A willingness to examine the motivations behind withheld truths and unspoken thoughts. Delving into the depths of one's fears and insecurities allows for a clearer understanding of the root causes of passive dishonesty. From the vantage point, right, from this vantage point, a deliberate and delicate choice can be made to lean into vulnerability and express thoughts candidly, or to continue treading the familiar path of evasion. How many of you guys evade having tough conversations? How many of you guys evade just really being nude, spiritually nude, psychologically nude, emotionally nude in front of your partner? Right? As we traverse the complex landscape of human interaction, passive dishonesty beckons us to tread lightly, to explore the delicate balance between honesty and compassion. It is a reminder that truth, like the petals of a fragile flower, can be both tender and resilient. The art of navigating passive dishonesty invites us to cultivate a space where authenticity and understanding can flourish, a realm where the whispers of withheld truths find their rightful place in the symphony of human connection. Safe space. Sukha, good space. The Sanskrit word for good space. Sukha. Passive dishonesty cultivates an environment of dukkha, bad space, right? We want sukha in the relationship. So the only way to create sukha, good space, is to totally be present with oneself and nude and vulnerable with oneself. Here we go. Passive dishonesty. We got callers on the line. Let's get Miss T. You already know, Indianapolis. Talk to us, Miss T. Hey.
How's it going? How's it going?
We alive. What do you think about tonight's topic? What are your thoughts?
Hey, this topic is fine.
You know how I
That's all I
feel.
can say. It's fine.
So tell me your thoughts.
My thought is, I think communication as a whole is lacking in our culture, period. Whether it be intimate relationships, business relationships, relationships with our kids, relationships with our family, our parents, it's really lacking.
Why is it lacking, though?
I think because it's not so. Going back further, like I remember times in our household where our parents say, what goes on in this house stays in the house. I think that I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it also descended down to our generations as a whole, period. Like, don't communicate, don't talk about these bad things, let's put them under the rug. And so I think that carried on to many relationships within our household and our family.
You're saying it's like a generational curse to be passively dishonest.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Talk to me about that a little bit.
I mean, there's times where not personally, but I know personally people have dealt with abuse, have dealt with neglect, have dealt with issues in their childhood or in their household, and it never got uncovered until years later. And it's still, some of them are still not uncovered. And so by not them being honest with themselves about the experience they went through, I think it affects their relationships as they continue going on into different relationships.
So you're saying, as kids, we modeled our parents being passively dishonest, and we use that as a means, right, for how we communicate in our adult relationships. Is that what you're telling me?
You know what? You can just write my book. You hit it right on the head, right there.
No, you helping me, child. I'm learning from you.
I really honestly think that, because I know personally I have a trouble with communication. I know different jobs I worked in, that's been one of my flaws. And I never understood why it was a flaw and why it was an issue. But as I got older, I realized communication, it affects you tremendously, whether it be business-wise, personally, with your kids, with your lover, with your employers. Communication is very, very much needed in every relationship that you deal with.
But, Miss T, you hit on something really powerful. If you are not comfortable enough to be communicatively vulnerable or naked around your upbringing, your home life, or your family, your mother and father, if you were not allowed to express yourself openly and freely, it's probably going to be difficult for you to be open and free in your adult relationship. You agree or disagree with that notion?
You know what? I agree, because I honestly, I have a daughter that's something that I know as far as a parent go, we tell our child not to talk back to us or not to have a voice. But now think about it. we should allow them to have a voice. We should allow them to speak, because it does affect the relationship. If there's silence in the home, growing up, when they get in a relationship, after they leave our household, then they're gonna have that. They're gonna be muted or not be able to have a voice, and they're gonna turn their voice into something as a weapon. Not by the positive method, and it can definitely affect them in their household as well.
Let me just say this, Sister T. You done brought Indianapolis in the building. You got a seat at the table anytime you want. Call in anytime. We appreciate you. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. When I come forward, I'm going to Austin, Texas. We got a Texas run coming up.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As black folk, we know how to face tragedy and not fall into despair. And yet sometimes the points of pain are felt so acutely, especially when we know full well that we're being treated unfairly by our so-called justice system that at times appears to be anything but just. After more than 30 years of public service, Mark Willie Thomas is set to be sentenced on Monday, August 21st, for his conviction on bribery and conspiracy in a federal corruption trial. As you well know, Willie Thomas was found not guilty on 12 of the 19 counts the feds brought against him. This is not your typical corruption case. No lavish trips, no victim, no cash in a brown bag or stashed away in a freezer, no illegal contributions from a wealthy donor, no money received by the accused, no use of taxpayer dollars. There is therefore no need to incarcerate Ridley Thomas to protect the community. Indeed, the probation department has recommended a mere 18-month sentence. But the feds, they want MRT to serve 6 years. 6 years. How is that fair? This happens far too often to defendants who just happen to look a lot like you and me. First, they target you. Then they overcharge you. Then they fight to keep certain folks off the jury. Then they spend millions of your tax dollars prosecuting a victimless $100,000 criminal allegation. Then, typically, they win, and why shouldn't they? In reality, no case of the United States government against you is really a fair trial, if you feel me. Then, after they win, they ask for a sentence of more than 3 times what the probation department is recommending. Again, I ask, how is that fair? I read the federal government's summary document regarding the sentencing of MRT, and the charged language they use is both revealing and despicable. You can clearly see their disdain for the constituent community, for the black clergy who have stood with MRT, and mostly for MRT, daring to exercise his constitutional right to even go to trial to defend himself. The feds demanding a 6-year sentence in this case is their way of punishing an uppity Negro who dared to fight back. Let's hope that the judge in this case sees through this racist masquerade and delivers a sentence of time commensurate with the crime, even as MRT appeals this verdict. There are no good times to be black in America, and sometimes are worse than others. For KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Tavis Smiley. We welcome your comments.
You know you want some more. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason returns to the already legendary KBLA Talk 1580 from the heart of Leimert Park, a.k.a. Africa Town. The VOR rolling with you from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, weekdays. We on fire tonight. Tonight's topic is passive dishonesty. In the delicate ecology of relationship, trust stands as a foundation, anchoring human connections and fostering intimacy. Yet, the insidious undercurrent of passive dishonesty can slowly chip away at this bedrock, causing fractures that, over time, weaken bonds and diminish the vibrant fabric of trust. Understanding the ways in which passive dishonesty infiltrates and corrodes relationships provides insight into the profound impact of unspoken truths. Unspoken truth is like that lint catcher in your dryer. If you never clear out the unspoken truths in your relationship, do you know that the lint can now start to cling to your clothes? Now you done pulled out your clean clothes out of the dryer and you got lint balls everywhere. That's because you didn't clean out the lint trap. Sometimes unspoken truths can create a type of energetic lint trap in your relationship that actually works to corrode the trust, the bond, the love, the empathy, the care, the sincerity that the two people share with one another. I'm going to tell you right now, let's clean out the lint trap. Passive dishonesty, often characterized by withheld thoughts, muted emotions, or evasive behaviors, create an undercurrent of ambiguity. It is the unspoken word that hangs heavy in the air, leaving partners, friends, or family members to navigate an intricate maze of half-truths. Over time, these unaddressed issues accumulate like sediment, forming a barrier that separates individuals from authentic connection. If you want to love me, and if you want me to love you, we got to get butt naked. We got to get butt naked. Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason is on fire tonight. Let's get these callers in here because they want to talk too. Reggie from Austin, Texas, get in here.
Hey, what's up, Zoe? Man, let's what up? All right, as far as this discussion is concerned, let's talk about relationships. Relationships take energy. Okay, we're not machines. It takes energy, and depending on how well you or your partner, or actually both of y'all, have mastered your emotions, it takes a whole lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna have these deep conversations, these penetrating conversations, with all of these words back and forth and all of these emotions back and forth and all of these theories back and forth, it takes an entire amount of energy that both of y'all need to have. Now, if you're working 12, 14 hours a day, battling traffic and battling the wages of life, when you get home, you're not going to want to have these conversations every day. So you have to be on the same page with your partner so that both of y'all can have these discussions. Now, there are certain times when one of y'all just needs to talk and the other one just needs to listen. And give them the energy and give them the space and give them really the grace to just hear themselves speak, because maybe if you just be quiet, they can get to their own solution and you don't have to really give a bunch of energy. You see what I'm saying? And it isn't that you're trying to evade anything. It's just that you fully understand how much energy you have to give to that discussion that day. And that's just fair as far as what both of y'all deserve. And then there are other times when you're the person that needs to talk, and sometimes both of y'all need to get things off your chest, and I get that. But man, recognize what energy you had to work with, and recognize the best way to get to the point of understanding. And if you have to communicate with your partner saying that, yo, I don't have the energy to deal with this today, but I have the energy to listen to you, You know what I'm saying? And just be upfront with what you have. Now, as far as being naked in front of each other, bro, it takes energy to do that. You feel me? It takes energy to do. It takes energy to do all that stuff,
Reggie,
bro.
I need you to stay with me because I gotta go forward. Listen, because you cooking right. Do y'all understand? Reggie is cooking with the finest ingredients. Listen, if you want to be a chef in the voice of reason, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. We have Reggie in here doing his residency. He is a chef that calls in from time to time, and he really cooks. If you want to be a chef, the number to dial is 1-800-920-1580. When we come forward, more from our brother Reggie out of Austin, Texas.